Hey guys, we're gonna go over the annual fitness eval. This is so we'll have all the standards, we'll have a video for it, and we'll put it into the library. That way all the evaluators will be able to be consistent with the movements and the goals that we're looking for. So the whole thing on this is just a basic standard. It's not necessarily a test, it's just an evaluation. We're just looking for a baseline for numbers. It's not a max effort or anything like that. We're just trying to see where we're at. If we've got any injuries, we're kind of addressing those. So moving forward throughout our career, we're looking to just be healthier and whatnot. So I'll go over all the standards for the mobility, the different movements that we'll do, and kind of what's based around that. Yeah.
All right, first thing's mobility. We're gonna be bending at the hips, keeping the legs straight.
Nice and locked out.
Nice and locked out, feet hip width apart, bending over. We're gonna see if we can get our fingertips to the ground.
This would be a limited range of motion, or we can't quite touch. This would be a full range of motion, touch the ground. Okay, if you have any pain or anything like that, we want to address that. Tightness is not necessarily going to be a pain. It's something where if you could hold it for about 10 seconds, that would be our range of motion.
All right, kneeling heel to butt would be the next flexibility.
So feet are nice and flat. And what we're looking for is, can our butt touch our heels? For me, for example, this has caused a little bit of pain in my right knee. We're just trying to address any issues with that. Limited range of motion would be you can't quite touch the butt to the heels, or if the feet have to come up to touch. We want those feet nice and flat and just to be able to sit down.
The supine straight leg raise.
So what we're looking for is, can we get our leg to a 90-degree angle? So coming up, knee nice and locked out. Can we get a 90-degree angle with that? Is there any pain with it? Obviously you'll have a little bit of tightness, and we'll do both legs. Good thing to remember is engage that core. You'll get a couple extra inches if you do. A limited range of motion would be having to bend the knee, or if we can't quite get to that 90-degree, you'll note that.
So the next one will be the supine shoulder flexion.
So with this, arms are going to be straight up. We're going to do a right and a left, and then both. And all we're trying to do is bring our arm back to see if we can touch that ground. Okay, come back, touch the ground, and then we would do both. Again, we're looking for any discomfort in either shoulder, or a limited range of motion would be we can't quite get our hand down to the ground.
Standing shoulder reach.
So this one we'll call this our left side and this our right side. So with this, we're trying to touch our fingers together. So as you can see, I have a limited range of motion, a little bit of discomfort in my left side. And when I switch it up, a little more range of motion, but it's still limited because I can't touch here, and still a little bit of discomfort in that left arm. So I would be limited on both of those. So something I would do is address my shoulder issue, try to find some movements that help heal that up.
Standing shoulder abduction.
Yep. So essentially we're just trying to get our bicep to our ear. Things we're trying not to do is overcompensate, hunch over. We just want to stand nice and tall. Can we bring those biceps to our ears? Try not to shrug too much to bring that down, just a normal posture. Okay, a limited range of motion would be we're here, can't quite get them all the way up, or if we've got any pain with that. We just want to note that.
The push-ups.
All right, so the push-up, we could do any type of scaled version if we want. Just whatever we do, we're gonna note it. If we go to our knees, we'll note that we went on our knees. We have a 2-minute time frame to do this, and what we're looking for is a consistent pace where you're not stopping. There's no pause, so it's a continuous movement. The standard is we're gonna go chest to the foam roller, and with the elbows, we're not wanting to come out too far, not too far in, just a nice comfortable. And what we're gonna look for is a steady pace. Okay, if we needed to go to the knees, if that's where we're at, that's fine. So all the way for a lockout at the top. nice consistent pace. You have 2 minutes to complete it. That would be the maximum amount of time to do it. So for the pull-ups, our standard we're gonna look for is chin above the bar, and then we're looking for a full lockout. Some of us do have a little bit of range of motion issue where the lockout is gonna cause some pain. That's okay, just note it if you have to keep the elbows bent a little bit at the bottom. So from here, it'd be a steady pace, okay? We're not hanging, we're not resting for a long time, it's just a continuous one set. Okay, so the strict pull-up would be all the way down, all the way up. A scaled version of that, which is still pretty difficult. If you've got any issues though with the shoulders and you're getting any pain with the pull-ups, elbows, tendonitis, stuff like that, we can go into a ring row. And with the ring row, the more underneath it you are, the more difficult it would be. The more out you are, it's gonna let up a little bit on the angle and make it a little bit easier. So what we're looking for on this, again, nice and locked out, and we're bringing the chest all the way to those rings. Okay, if we were underneath a little bit more, gonna make it a little more difficult. And again, nice steady pace for those. You have a 2-minute time frame on that as well. I don't think anyone's gonna get to 2 minutes of pull-ups, but that's the time frame for all the movements. Squats. All right, so again, we have 2 minutes to complete. This is one of the movements that there is a high likelihood that you will go for the 2 minutes. Again, nice steady pace. What we're looking for in the squat, nice squat position, feet are nice and flat. Our standard is gonna try to be hip below the knee, so about 90 degrees. And we're trying to avoid leaning forward or the chest over. And it's just a nice steady pace. You could do whatever you want with your hands, just as long as they're not pushing off those legs. Okay, do you have any pain in the knees? If at any time you get any pain with any of these movements, you can stop it and you're good to go as long as you've recorded it.
Back extensions.
Okay, so again, we have the 2-minute time frame. So with the back extension, what we're looking for is just basically we don't want it to quite be a hip extension, which would be, my hips are over. I want it to be a little bit farther back. So to adjust that, we're sliding this back. What I like to do is hook my toes on. Okay. When we're coming down, we're looking to come down basically face close to the bottom. Our up position is just gonna be nice and flat, parallel. We don't need to come up high. And again, we have 2 minutes to do this. So what we're looking for is a consistent pace. For most, your back's gonna start getting tight where the hamstrings will start firing. We're just looking for a nice steady pace when you have the 2 minutes to complete it. So if we either don't have a glute ham developer machine, one of the things we could do for the back extensions is a Superman. And what that is just we're laying flat on the ground, okay, and we're bringing our hands and our feet up at the same time. Okay, we're trying to get our thighs off the ground. These can get pretty difficult pretty fast too. The back will get pretty tight. But again, we're not just flailing around. It's a nice controlled movement, and you'll feel it isolated to that lower back. All right, so the last of the movements is gonna be the side plank. This one you can max out at 4 minutes per side. It's quite a while, but we do have a 4 minute max for that. So you could start on either side, left or right. A couple different ways we can do these. Is either we can go, this would be the basic standard, which would be the elbow or in a nice straight line. Things we're trying to avoid are kind of hunching over or letting that hip drop. A little bit of a scaled version, or if you've got issues with the elbows, would be coming up to the hand. And again, we're just noting on the eval form what we're doing. So then in between, you can take as much rest as you need, a couple minutes per in between the sides. just jot down on your Form 2 which side you did first. So then I would go over to the other side. 3, 2, 1, pop up. Good, and as soon as we kind of start breaking form and we break down, that would be the end of our time. So then our last part that we'll do is we'll do the bike for 5 minutes, and we'll be using the heart rate monitor as well. Where this sits would go against your bare skin. Okay, the monitor is going to be just right at that sternum, right underneath basically that kind of the pec line or boob line. So, all right, so this is your active heart rate that's going. So to set this, you'll hit stop, hold stop, resets it. You'll then hit target heart rate. Okay, you'll enter the age. For me, 36. As soon as you hit enter, the time will start. This gives you your 80% of your heart rate. So for me, that's a 147. And then our max heart rate is gonna be 220 minus your age. So as we go, it'll start off. So if I'm trying to just stay at 80% of my heart rate, which is 147, go through. I'll recommend starting off kind of easy and then working your way up. Your heart rate, there's a little bit of a delay in that first minute, it'll catch up. So at the top of every minute, the evaluator will record your calories that you're at, and then the heart rate that you're at for that top of that minute. So let's say we were getting into it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm at 7.8 calories. Heart rate's at 140. I continue this on for another 4 minutes to equal 5 minutes.
Now you're above 80.
So now I'm above 80. That's fine. For me, I'm going to try to keep mine in between 80 and 100%. So for the bike as well, if you're someone that doesn't normally get your heart rate really high, you might say in between the 65 and 80. It's completely up to you how you want to do this. The goal is not to absolutely wreck yourself. It's just to kind of find where your heart rate is, how hard you're actually working. The thing this correlates to is going on calls. We get jacked up, our heart rate gets going. You got to pull those, this and that, and are we able to recover and do more work? So great tool for that. Again, if we're on shift doing it, don't wreck yourself. For me, I just tried to stay at my 80% of my heart rate for the 5 minutes and see where I was at, see how I was able to recover.